darkness of light. Similarly, the blessings bring in our life the prosperity and happiness. To make this evening a blessed one, invoke God Ganesha by kindling the lamp of knowledge and wisdom. Over to Mohit. Yes, Mohit, Ganesh Bandana. Similarly, the blessings bring in our life the prosperity and happiness. To make this evening a blessed one, invoke God Ganesha by kindling the lamp of knowledge and wisdom. Over to Mohit.
Nirvignam kuru me deva sarvakaryeshu sarvada.
Let us all join together for lighting the lamp and to give the floral tribute to our founder, Rotarian Paul Harris. Thank you. Now the meeting is called to order. I request all the esteemed guests to please stand at their respective place as we are going to play the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Before we start our evening, let us observe 1 minute silence for the departed soul of our past president, Rotarian Rudra Prasad Sahu. Thank you. Thank you. Respected Rotary International District Governor, Rotarian Soumya Ranjan Mishra, our chief guest, today's esteemed special guest of the evening and chief speaker, Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Sonal Mansingh Madam, esteemed keynote speakers, PDG Samashri Sen of RID 3291, Dr. Nazneen Ahmed from Bangladesh, Dr. Prabhati Panigrahi, Cultural Secretary of MHF Australia, Mrs. Ina Purohit, District Chair, Innerville District 326, District Chairman, Women Empowerment of RID 3262, Professor Jayanti Jagdev, past district governors, DG, DGN, PDG, esteemed Rotarians, all members of RCB Kalinga, Rotractors, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we are all honored to have with us our esteemed personalities for their kind presence. My sincere thanks to our District Governor, Soumya Sir, Madam, Dr. Sonal Mansingh ji, and all our esteemed keynote speakers for accepting our request to be a part of this seminar and share their valuable thoughts in today's subject. Widened worries of women, a COVID-19 perspective on its various aspects. Every year, the Rotary organizes different seminars where major focused areas are how to serve the society during its need of the hour. After the outburst of global pandemic, the entire roadmap of human mankind has been moved towards uncertainty. Maybe the year 2020 will be the year of survival only. Uncertainty has made the people so demotivated that all sections of the people are feeling insecure about their own endurance. Presently, the biggest challenges are also being faced by the women. They are tirelessly working for their family apart from their uncertain professional careers. They are now under tremendous rational pressure to manage their family as well as the career. It is perceived that there is substantial increase in domestic violence, committing suicides, due to the mental agony among the family members. It is in fact that whenever there is any crisis of magnitude encountered by the society, every time a woman becomes the most vulnerable victim of debacle. To map out the spectrum of this situation, the seminar Swam Siddha has been organized where our esteemed speakers will share their valuable thoughts on the subject, which will definitely stretch some knowledge for the betterment of our day-to-day life. With this, I once again welcome you all for your gracious presence. Thank you. Now I request our District Chairman of Women Empowerment, Professor Jayanti Jagdev, to address, please. Jayanti ma'am, please. Yes, madam.
Thank you, Debjani, President of the Rotary Club of Kalinga, Debjani Bose, our esteemed District Governor, Soumya Mishra, Padma Vibhushan Dr. Sonal Mansingh, Honorable Member of the Parliament, a panel of very eminent keynote speakers, my revered Rotarians, friends who are present here, our Innerville District Chairman Ina Purohit, and other distinguished district officials are also present here. A warm welcome to all of you. There is a significant global media attention on the spread of coronavirus, which has led to a justifiable consumer concern about the risks from COVID-19 and an infodemic. The aim of COVID-19 facts is to provide accurate and credible information to counter myths that are gaining attraction on social media platforms. Preliminary figures show that women and men are being infected by COVID-19 in roughly equal numbers, but the mortality rate is higher in men. Fatalities alone do not fully showcase the ways in which women and men are vulnerable to the immediate risk of the epidemic. Socially prescribed cultural norms, attitudes, and practices in relation to gender play a critical role in how individual women and men are affected. Women are mainly the main caregivers in their homes, communities, and health facilities, which puts them at an increased risk of contacting COVID-19. Although so many women are working on the COVID-19 front lines, women have little to say in the policy measures put in place to address the crisis. Incidents and reports of violence against women within the household have also risen. This points to male psychological distress due to short-term loss of work and earnings and subsequent violent behavior and or confinement at home with abusive partners during the lockdown. As a result, in the long run, women's psychological well-being might be affected even more adversely than men's from financial and emotional stress combined with physical violence. Home is not always the safe place for women. Nandita Das's short film, Listen to Her, on domestic violence during COVID lockdown. The film illustrates in irony of the guideline, stay home, stay safe, which is not always the case. The teenage girls of many families were also vulnerable. As stay at home order expands to contain the spread of the virus, women with violent partners increasingly find themselves isolated from the people and the resources that can help them. Many women have also to tutor their children at governments around the world have temporarily closed schools in order to contain the spread of COVID-19. Millions of girls are affected living in countries affected by extreme poverty or conflict, where gender disparities in education are highest. Women in the informal economy are especially vulnerable. Government should provide income support for women working in the informal sector. Women in poverty or without an independent source of income face greater risk. Lone mothers, families are more likely to be in distress. The reason being few income earners in the family and women's lower wages. As the lockdowns are erased, creating accessible information portals on job availability would help both men and women match with potential employers, especially in urban areas. More than ever, technology is going to be at the core of a new normal and bridging the digital gap with increased girls' and women's chances of accessing education and jobs. The majority of frontline health workers, especially nurses, are women, increasing their risk of infection. Women who are more likely to bear the brunt of the social and economic consequences of the pandemic. Earlier this year, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres noted that COVID-19 could reverse the limited progress that has been made on gender equality and women's rights. With the pandemic set to stretch into 2021, the words are looking less like a warning than a prediction. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, now the time has come to introduce before you our esteemed special guest of the evening and Chief Speaker Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Sonal Mansingh, Madam. Mohit, please play the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we are honored to have with us a special guest of evening and Chief Speaker Padma Vibhushan Dr. Sonal Mansingh. I am privileged to introduce her before the August gathering. Dr. Sonal Mansingh was nominated by President of India to Rajya Sabha, the upper house of Indian Parliament, in July 2018 in recognition of her lifelong dedication and service to India's arts. She is the recipient of Padma Vibhushan in 2003 from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam and Padma Bhushan in 1992 from Sri R. Venkataraman. Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, nominated her as Navaratna for Swachh Bharat Mission, Clean India Mission. Her unique contribution has been her lifelong work using her knowledge to address socio-cultural issues through the chosen medium of dance as a soloist, teacher, choreographer, and motivational speaker. As the founder president of Sri Kamakhya Kalapit Center for Indian Classical Dances established in 1977 at Delhi, she has trained several hundred talented students who are carrying the message of Indian culture globally. She teaches the art as holistic concept combining music, yoga, Sanskrit and cultural traditions of India. Now I request Madam Dr. Sonal Mansingh ji to please share her valuable thoughts. Thank you, ma'am.
Namaskar.
Namaskar, madam.
My warm greetings to all the Rotarians, eminent speakers, scholars, and distinguished guests. Just now, Professor Jayanti Jagdevji has given a very, what shall I say, a very clear picture of the phase, the era that we are passing through, this period of pandemic. Women all over the world, because this pandemic is not confined to one country or one continent alone. It's everywhere. It's a very, very strange situation where globally everyone is suffering. So in a way, I have called this pandemic a real socialist, a real equalizer. Rich, poor, man, woman, young, old, makes no difference to this virus. And it is even more dangerous because the symptoms emerge later. There are people who have been going around freely, of course, with this mask or sometimes whatever, and suddenly we hear they had COVID. Then all the 100 and odd persons they had met in the last 1 week, they all had to be quarantined. In this situation, what Professor Jayanti has etched out the picture is very grim, very worrisome, and very scary. And yet, I think we are all bracing up to face this situation which nobody can alleviate. Only thing we can do is to talk, to discuss, to remain positive, corona negative, life positive, and be together in our thoughts, in our solutions, in reasoning, in logic, in cures, sharing, and caring for each other. That is the only cure, it seems. Women, yes, Navaratris are due, our great festival of Navaratri, 9 days. And the 10th day is the Mahishamardan, Durga. We will all pray, we will all do the puja at home, read Durga Saptashati, chant Ma's thousands, crores of names, chant her Sahasranamas, and pray that she, the cosmic feminine power, will somehow infuse that power into us. And I say into us, not only women. I am not at all biased against men. I think we all need that power from the superpower, the great mother, Adi Shakti, Parameshwari, Durga. We all need it. It is very strange that in the lockdown period in India, where there was a national lockdown, if you remember, it began, I think, from March 25th. And I think for 2 months it was watertight. And then very slowly, very, very slowly, the things were opening up. The first phase, the second phase. But those 2 months or 2.5 months, I think we had a wonderful time watching husbands, fathers, brothers, sons doing jhadu pocha in the house, bartan manjna in the house, istri, washing clothes, helping the wife, helping the mother. And those were not fake, at least the videos in YouTube and in my WhatsApp, they were not fake. The men perforce had to learn. If they had never done anything like that before, they had to learn. And in the end, they seem to be enjoying it because new skills and a new respect for the woman who on daily basis attended to these chores single-handedly. Then they realized. But once, as the lockdown began to open, slowly, this memory also starts receding. And I think this is a big factor in our lives. That memory of dukkha, memory of pain and sorrow does not last long. Because the human mind plays tricks. It just wants to rub off anything that is unpleasant. However, somewhere it does leave a mark in the subconscious. Now, this is the situation where, as again I go to my previous speaker, whose clarity of issue, presenting the issue, I really admire. That the homegrown violence, sexual crimes, disrespect, divorce cases, all these are now coming out. What is the solution? I don't know. I don't think anyone has the solution except constant tightening of social awakening, constant banging at the doors of the mind, of the heart, at the conscience of people, a social awakening, which Rotary is doing, which we all have to do. We all have to constantly speak about it, talk about it, discuss it, debate it, dialogues. So much is going on social media, on YouTube, and everywhere, thousands every day, so many messages. So the kachara is also there. We are burdened with so much unnecessary, unwanted information. And that information can weigh you down so that the good thoughts, the good memories of having shared sentiments, your moods, your emotions, your thoughts, your housework, they all recede. And what Bollywood has done and what this has done and what's happening here and what's happening there, unnecessary. Now, I only wish to say, because I don't have much time, I had sent a message. I have another webinar, unfortunately, which is put on hold now. It was to begin at 7:30. I was given 15 minutes. So I will only say that here now they talk about women's equity to equality. Now this kind of a dialogue sounds very hollow at the moment. Equity is only the means. Equality is the goal. And I would say that why only for women? Man. Men also have to look at equity to equality. They have to learn to be equal to the woman. This kind of respect has to be aroused in men. You cannot give birth to a child. I'm sorry. You are not equal to woman. You never will be. Woman does not have to become equal to you. The man has to become equal to woman, barring one enormous aspect of creation, which is not given to him by God. Such thoughts have to be injected again and again and learn to respect each other. I want to quickly mention that sectors of agriculture and culture. This is where women fought. Agriculture, I made a little study and consulted my friends who are in that field. They said 50% or more agriculture is done by women. Their participation is more than 50%. And yet the land holding in their name is just about 10%. Thank God this government has put so many schemes into action and so many other amendments to the older schemes. So activation and constant change and constant supervision in the agriculture sector is happening. Orissa, I think there's a lot of examples from Orissa that how the women are doing enterprise. They become so enterprising. They're selling and buying goats and selling and buying seeds and whatnot. I have all the statistics somewhere because Odisha interests me particularly. You know why. Culture, women held the fort. But now during pandemic, what has happened? We are all jobless people. No programs, no festivals, no utsav. So you dance, you sing, you play instrument in your own drawing room, in the corridor, in the kitchen, in the little dining room, wherever. And you put it on YouTube, on the Facebook. And it's all for free. Muft khori. It's all for free. So when shall we have the proper way, we learn the proper way of utilizing social media? I don't like the word, but I'll use it, commercializing, monetizing. When shall we learn? We've become so used to freeloading. Art is for free. Artist is for free. Kam se kam karo. Bhai, artist or dancer, bhai, kam bolo. Tell us. No, we cannot give you 1 lakh. Will you come for 50,000? 50,000? No. You come for 30,000. Otherwise, there's a queue of artists. This won't work. I think the artists also must unite together to demand, to understand that we are unorganized sector, unlike most other sectors. We are unorganized. We have no voice because we have no unity. And women lead this field of culture. So once again, women are the sufferers there. Women used to earn. Woman has to feed the family. Woman has to look after the kids. Now online education, virtual classrooms, and the teachers send the lessons and the homework. So who ends up working with the children? The mother. She has to sit with the child, with the children, and make her and him do the work, the homework, and see that it is again posted in time. Yeah, we all know the problems. I will again end with my invocation to the great goddess, the great mother, the great cosmic feminine, the power that upholds the universe. And it is believed that Y, the X turned Y. And basically it was the first woman. We don't call her Eve. We call her Devi. Divyata, Devi, divine, the divinity. Tejas, incandescent, effulgent, the great power. So we always pray to her. I pray to her. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu, Shakti Rupena Samsthita, Namastasya, Namastasya, Namastasya Namo Namaha. Let your Shakti come into all of us. Let us fight this Mayavi Asura, the coronavirus. It's a Mayavi Asura. We must fight it. Ma, give us the Shakti, and let us all be together, united in this fight, but in our spirits together, caring for each other, loving each other, and giving our power, our energy to each other. Kalyan ho, Shubh ho, Mangal ho, Astu. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for sharing the valuable thoughts on the subject. And your thoughts, kind word, and appreciation will definitely motivate us and worth to share and to work more for the need of the society. As you have already said, Jadevi Sarve Bhuteshu, Shakti Rupeni Shakti Rupeni
Samstita.
Namaste
Samstita.
Shri,
Yeah.
Namaste Shri, Namaste Shri,
Namaste.
Namo.
Namo Namah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
Namaskar to all the Devis, okay? And the Devas can stand behind and take my blessings.
Yes, yes.
I'm
Thank
at that age, Jevjani, I've reached an age when I can bless everyone. I'm running 77, which is a very good age to bless everyone. So I give my blessings also.
Yes, madam.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
madam. Puja is also coming. Ma is also now, she will also come after a few days. Durga with
Yeah,
Durga Ma.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now I have the privilege to introduce our district governor, RID 3262, Rotarian Soumya Ranjan Mishra, the chief guest of the evening before you.
Ladies and gentlemen, now I have the privilege of introducing our smiling district governor of our district 3262 Rotarian Soumya Ranjan Mishra. Rotarian Soumya Ranjan Mishra is a major donor and advocate by profession and practicing in the original side of the Odisha High Court, including the lower courts. Well versed in mercantile law, taxation, and labor law. He was the secretary of Cuttack Tax Bar Association for the period 1998 to 2000. He has undergone training in alternative dispute resolution in the year 2001 from American Center, Kolkata. Rotarian Soumya was born to freedom fighter and teacher and well-known labor law late Satyabadi Mishra and Srimati Bimla Mishra of Bira, Balabhadrapur Shasan in the district of Puri. He joins Rotary in the year 2000 and was the charter secretary of Rotary Club of Bhubaneswar Conference in the year 2008. He was the recipient of Outstanding President Award in the year 2010-11, and in the same year his club was awarded Significant Achievement Award by RI President Ray Kingsmith in recognition of outstanding and significant community service efforts. He has received the most prestigious award of Rotary Foundation Citation for Meritorious Service in the year 2016 and 17, a regular contributor to the Rotary Foundation and recognized as Major Donor Level 1. He is also a benefactor and a member of Paul Harris Society. He is also the recipient of Service Above Self Award for the year 2018 and 19. He is an active and dedicated Rotarian and served the club and district in various capacities with commitments. He takes keen interest in social service and is instrumental to changing lives of club adopted village Pithagadia near Chandka. Apart from Rotary, he is also the secretary of Saraswati Shishu Vidya Mandir College Square, Cuttack, and secretary of Susruta Swastha Sahayata Kendra Cuttack, an active member of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh and Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad. His spouse, past President Rotarian Sarita Mishra, is also a major donor. They are blessed with a son Ankit and graduate serving in High Radius Technologies, Hyderabad, and daughter Rasmi studying in class 9 of TPS Kalinga.
Yes. Now I request our DG Soumya sir to please share his valuable thoughts.
Very good evening to all. Very good,
Good evening. Good
Jai
evening, sir.
Jagannath. At the outset, I congratulate uh, respected chief guest today's evening, Member of Parliament Sonal Manzi, and distinguished guest speaker Shabasri Shen over here, and Dr. Mrs. Nazim Muhammad, Prabhati Panigrahi, and Ina Purohit, IW Chair, and my esteemed Council of Governors, friends in Rotary, friends of
Nazmi, madam.
At the outset, I congratulate Debjani for making a wonderful event today's on women empowerment, because today this is the most powerful topic right now in our Rotary International. Holger Knapp, the Rotary International president, has already told the women power is the most important in Rotary, because three doors, what he has, Rotary opens opportunity, three doors he has opened. One door is meant for women and one door is meant for Rotarians and another door is for Rotractors. So we are now achieving 24% of women in Rotary, and we are this year celebrating the 30 years women in Rotary, joining Rotary. And at the outset, I congratulate all women over here. And today we are organizing this seminar on behalf of District 3262. I congratulate all of you, and especially our Women Empowerment District Chairman Jayanti Jagdev for making a beautiful event in such a nice way and giving the name Swayam Siddha. Swayam Siddha is one of the most important event of Government of India program as well as all state government to make women empowered. And as Sonal Manzi, our esteemed chief guest, told, be together in our everyday life and new skill and to make new development. As you know, due to the COVID-19, we have cancelled many more programs and we adopted our online Zoom meetings in all training programs. And due to the COVID, as already told, the new skill has already been developed and we have become skilled, and our major area of focus, we have to achieve our focus, but time is less and we should do more for the service project. And today's our takeaway message, as beautifully our chief guest has told, women equity is only the means and equality is the goal. So friends, those who are joining today, it is our duty and responsibility to make oath to respect our beautiful women in our country. And I also recognize the presence of our district First Lady, Sarita Mishra. She is also past president of Rotary Club Katak Mahadi. She is here, and I welcome her to this Zoom house. And really, it's an excellent vision she has given. Women's equity is only the means, and equality is our goal. So, friends, today we energizes, and my salute to all beautiful women over here. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity to speak a few words before you. Thank you all.
Thank you, our
Thank you,
smiling
Jajjani.
DG. Thank you, our smiling DG, for your kind words and appreciation, which will definitely encourage us to serve more
Because
for
of
the
your
society. Yes,
you
sir.
have already called many speakers.
Yes.
That Samasri is here and
Yes.
many speakers are here. So we eager to listen all of them. That's why I limit my.
Okay, sir. Okay, definitely, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I request, and the first session is going to be over. I request our chartered president, Ashok Kumar Mahapatra, to please give a vote of thanks to our esteemed guest in the inaugural session. Over to Ashok, sir. Yes, sir. Unmute karantu. Mohit, unmute Ashok sir. Yes,
Ma'am,
unmute karantu. Setaku.
Am I audible now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Now audible. Good evening, everybody. Few days back, Devyani contacted me and apprised me about this seminar and gave me some assignment. That time I was in distress, but even though I was thinking that I am being attacked by Corona, COVID, that cannot withstand the power of women. So everything will go on, and the power of woman is already established. That is, they are already showing that they are already empowered. There is no force more powerful than a woman, determined to rise, determined to act, determined to go ahead, because they are already empowered. They are not seeking any mercy, any grace from anybody. Today, our chief speaker, Madam Dr. Sonal Manzi, our esteemed speaker, gave a brilliant and prolific presentation, cranking all out dimension of women empowerment, which is standing COVID. We were an icon of Indian culture, dance and art and culture in form of dance. Today, we found her. This is a excellent and inspirational movement speaker. What a wonderful deliberation she made. She differentiated cosmic women power, all women equity and equality, also differentiated agriculture and culture. These are all essence of women empowerment, how they can be differentiated from men society. Madam, perhaps is absent now. Madam, this is a wonderful presentation, simply phenomenal, covering all dimensions of women empowerment. Ma'am, on behalf of RI District 3262, our Governor Soumya Mishra, Rotary Club Bhubaneswar Karinga, all participants, viewers from Australia, Bangladesh, Kolkata, Innerville members, we express our heartfelt thanks, rather heartfelt gratitude for sparing your valuable times and made a very brilliant presentation. Madam, thank you, ma'am. Perhaps this day will be remembered. What an active and assiduous schedule for our governor. Nowadays, all over have been webinars. And even DG being the head of the district is on demand to remain present everywhere. Despite of so many schedules, thank you, DG Sharma, for your gracious presence and valuable encouraging words on women empowerment. Chair Jayanti ma'am, very senior and learned Rotarian. Thank you, ma'am, for your support, active cooperation, and coordination, for which it could be possible the way it is being held. I am also equally thankful DGN Prabhu, PDG Narendra Mishra ji, PDG Shivapata Das, and other senior Rotarians present here, participated here. This seminar was in mind of our President before she takes over the charge of the Kalinga. Thank you, President Devyani, for acting upon it and making it possible.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashok sir. Now we are going to start the session. I would like to inform you that we have kept one interactive session at the end of session 4. The participants can send their questions to our district chairman, Women Empowerment, Professor Jayanti Jagde, by using her personal chat so that the same can be placed before the keynote speakers suitably. So now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our past district governor, Shamashri Sen of RID 3291. And for me, she is my Didi Bhai. AV. Yes, introduction, Mohit. Please play the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have with us past District Governor of RID 3291 Kolkata. I am honored to introduce her before the August gathering. An alumnus of Presidency College, Kolkata, Shamishri Sen received her first class and ranked first from Calcutta University in both her bachelor's and master degree examinations in political science. PDG Samishri began her career as a copywriter with a couple of advertising agencies and freelanced for both Bengali and English dailies in Kolkata. Edited a youth oriented magazine also. Later on, she was associated with Kolkata on Wheels magazine. She partnered in a public relation company, Connections, which handles the corporate profiles of many famous business houses, celebrities, and trade associations. She manages Nimble Fingers, an NGO that showcases crafts and craftsmen of Bengal as she believes to uplift the artisans of Bengal and popularize their crafts. She has a critically acclaimed book of poems, Stolen Moments, to her credit and contributes regularly to journals and magazines. Involved in a varied social activities, she is associated with many organizations. She is an association representative of University Women's Association of Kolkata and served as Honorable Secretary of the Indian Federation of uh, University Women's Associations. She is a life member of National Indian Association of Women, Saroj Nalini Datta Memorial Association, and the Thalassemia Society of India. She was the first lady president of the Eastern Chamber of Commerce. She is also a member of Ananya Onamon, a socio-cultural organization. An active Rotarian for the past 23 years, she has won a large number of awards and recognitions from Rotary, and during her year of service, she has emphasized on women empowerment, opening of vocational centers for underprivileged women, health care for marginalized women and children, adult education, spreading awareness of diseases like thalassemia, HIV, AIDS, polio eradication, and organizing many eye surgeries for the underprivileged. PDG Shamashri is married to Rotarian captain Sunan Sen, a master mariner. Their daughter Sunrita, who is also studying for a postgraduate degree in law in USA, and their son Sumit is working in New Delhi. Now I request a PDG Samishri Sen madam to please share her valuable thoughts on the subject. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. This is a changing world. We must be prepared to change with it. These are the words of Paul Harris, told long, long ago, and which we are having to do right now. Good evening to all of you. At the outset, I would like to thank President Rotarian Devjani Basu, who is my sister, whom I found in the Rotary Club of Bhubaneswar, Kalinga, where she called me and kindly invited me to Swam Siddha. Incidentally, I started a program called Swam Siddha, which is running for 14 years in my district, where we recognize women of great achievement in the month of March. So we have something in common now. And today's program is a multi-district seminar on the subject, Widened Worries of Women, a COVID-19 perspective. I'm humbled by her choice, that too in a program with the Honorable Member of Parliament, Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Sonal Manzi. Even though she's not here with us right now, but she was very much with us, and I really loved what she said. Thank you, Dr. DG Soumya Ranjan Mishra and District Chair Women Empowerment Rotarian Professor Jayanti Jagdev for your presence. And I'll delve straight into the topic which has been given to me, because 10 minutes is not a very long time, and very soon I'll be told by Devjani that your time is up now, Didi. So till December of 2019, none of us had any idea what life was going to be for us in the future. We did not know about the novel coronavirus, but once it emerged in China, it quickly spread over 30 countries. Till yesterday, we have had more than 78,000 deaths and about 4.66 million cases, of whom 3.62 million have recovered in this country. Worldwide, there have been 28.5 million cases, of whom 19.2 million have recovered. The have recovered parts are the good parts. Naturally, in the past 7 months, our lives have undergone a sea change for almost all the people in this country. Whoever thought that children would not go to school for 7 months? Instead, they would be receiving e-learning. Whoever thought that we would be at home to save ourselves and our family members from catching the C virus? I had never imagined myself with a mask and a bottle of sanitizer if I had to go out of the house. But this has now become the order of the day. Nowadays, the police have become very, very careful and vigilant about sitting on the road and the streets of Kolkata. I'm sure the same is the case in your city. Our lives are changing just as we are getting frustrated staying at home. We are also getting some time to do some things like honing our old hobbies or skills which we had long forgotten. That is the plus part of it. Facebook and Instagram, if you look at them every morning, you'll find somebody that you know who's a friend on Facebook and Instagram who has put up some pictures of delicious dishes cooked by people that we know. But then hobbies are for leisure time. With the lockdowns and the containment zones coming up, most of us, especially the women, are having a very tough time multitasking. Because, with my apologies to all the men who are watching this program, on the one hand, we tend to give up our careers faster than the men, naturally, when it comes to don the swab and the mop and the broom. We women take care of everyone besides ourselves, and we turn into caregivers. We therefore feel responsible for the good health and survival of our family members. And so it is more likely that we suffer more from mental stress. Mothers, as we are, even if we are working, we are mothers first. We are the ones who will be likely to stay at home to take care of the children and the other senior family members than the fathers. At the same time, for those who are working, their offices will tell them, you can work from home. You have a laptop or you have a computer and you can do your work. So for us, it's a double deal. As social distancing measures and shelter in places orders become more widespread, along with job losses and closure of schools, life has gone out of sync for us. These lead to increased economic anxieties and increased demands on parents' time from the children. So the mother becomes the teacher, the nurse, the family mediator at home with little respite, while some of them also continue to manage their workplace responsibilities. These issues are often not with us, maybe, but with other many other families, coupled with domestic violence, about which my predecessor has already spoken. And I think during the course of the evening, we will hear more and more about this because the newspapers and the television, especially, abounds in these kind of news, and we are all the time hearing about it. So, what do we do about this? And what have women in Rotary been doing during this pandemic? Because as you know, I've seen a lot of my Rotarian lady friends have lost a lot of weight because they've been doing so much extra work, even though they've been staying at home. But they were not just doing that extra work at home. They were out on the street as well with the men from their Rotary club, and kitchens were opened for people who were migrant laborers and who were trying to get back home, because a Rotarian will always want to help those in distress, cannot see a person dying of hunger. So little kitchens mushroomed, lady Rotarians worked in those kitchens, food rations were supplied, they helped in teaching women how to make masks. Many Rotary clubs have what is known as the RCCs, or the Rotary Community Corps, and they went out of their way to teach the women how to make masks. And those masks are being used, are being given to people free of cost. We have also been helping health workers with PPE kits, sanitizers, and the usual masks. One thing that I have noticed most of the women in Rotary, not only in my district but elsewhere, also have been doing is to help each other to, you know, reduce the stress factor that has come into our lives. Because even I feel at times that I am very stressed out. So, what does one do then? One does a little bit of meditation, a little bit of yoga, but one can't do that without any training. So many Rotary clubs have been organizing wonderful online meditations, or some kind of counseling, and that has been opened out to the public, which is a big help, because at times some people are suicidal, and then they see that such a program is coming on, they might click on, and it might help that person. So all this together is kind of helping those who are the more vulnerable. However, the main thing that I feel that has happened is that we are making a social change by getting connected through the internet. I wouldn't have known Devjani had it not been for the internet. I wouldn't have been able to come and speak my mind to the people who are wonderful Rotarians of District 6262 and the other districts who are here. And I can see that there are already 173 people. There were more than 200 people earlier. So for a small program of a few women trying to speak about how they are coping, what their organization is doing, and especially I'm very proud of being a Rotarian. Incidentally, Devjani, I'm 27 years in Rotary. My daughter is already married. She's working as a lawyer, and my son is in Bombay now. So certain things I had to really remind you. And I am now the End Polio Now coordinator for Zone 6, which includes your district. So it is another one thing that I have to keep on doing, remind people that now 20th is polio day, and we must go out on the streets again and make sure that every child is given the polio drop. So I think in a way, Rotary is very therapeutic. When you start feeling, oh my God, I am like, in a situation where I'm distressed because I don't have anything else but work. There is no helping hand. Life has changed. I cannot do what I used to do. Many people have a habit of going out a lot. I have, because of all the organizations that I belong to. But you won't believe it. No, none of the organizations are closed. They're all working on the net. And I know of many professional artists, singers, dancers, painters who are actually doing shows and selling tickets, not for themselves, but for the technicians and for the recently Guru Sanchita Bhattacharya. She is doing a program for us in one of the organizations, and she is raising funds for the senior citizens who were Orisi dancers. So you can do, if you want to, you can use it commercially, this Facebook and all these platforms. So we are learning new skills. We are learning new ways of even economy. And I would like to end by saying that the best way to get through this whole pandemic and the fact that now we are on the second wave in India is to support each other, to remain connected. If you're feeling very desperate, just pick up your phone and speak to someone. Take whatever is inside your heart out so that you can share, so that you don't feel so desperate to do something very wrong. And please, please, for God's sake, remain balanced, because the mother is the center of the existence of a family. The mother nurtures, and most of us are mothers. We can't afford to feel so desperate that we are not doing anything. What we need to do is keep ourselves very active and keep ourselves connected and keep ourselves doing something which makes us happy. And even serving your own family, taking care of your children, all these things are also things that make us happy. Maybe sometimes we get a bit irritated because, my children are very grown up, but I know I have a lot of friends who have very small kids, and they find it very difficult to, go on studying online like this. So they go on asking the mothers, and I know it can be tough. It's not something that I have faced, but I feel a little bit of love changes everything, and this too shall pass. I'm 100% sure this too shall pass. And as my predecessor said, let us keep praying to the Mother Goddess, give us the strength, let us have the fortitude to be able to, get through with this whole thing which we had never imagined, which has taken away many of our favorites. I've lost one of my club members. She was a lady doctor, and she told me 3 days before she passed away that I think I have COVID and I'm going to die. And I never believed her. So, shock after shock we have got. We are now kind of, used to these shocks. It was a way of cleansing. That's what she said. I don't know what kind of cleansing it is to have your own favorite people going away from this world. But we have to be strong. We have to stay united together. And it's not just a woman's world, nor even just a man's world. It's all of our world, and we must take care of each other. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am, Didibhai, for your beautiful thoughts. As you already mentioned, that there are so many social changes that are taking place around us. So adaptability and connectivity is the key word at
Yes,
this moment, and survival is the greatest word if we can win over this pandemic.
cool.
Thank you, Didibhai.
Thank
Now,
you.
I request, ladies and gentlemen, all we know that Rotary is beyond the boundaries of any state and country. Today, we are privileged to have with us Dr. Nazneen Ahmed from Bangladesh.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we are honored to have with us Dr. Nazneen Ahmed from Bangladesh. Dr. Nazneen Ahmed is a senior research fellow at the Bangladesh Institution of Development Studies, BITS. She did her bachelor and master's in economics from the University of Dhaka. She got the Cheving Scholarship and did another master's in development economics from the University of Sussex, United Kingdom. She obtained a PhD degree from the University of Wageningen, the Netherlands. The Dr. Nazneen Ahmed has over 20 years of experience in conducting research on socio-economic issues. Her research expertise includes issues related to macroeconomy, industry, labor, social economy compliance, international trade, regional integration, agricultural marketing, and gender. Dr. Nazneen has detailed technical understandings of labor laws of Bangladesh, analyzing policies and writing the reports. During her career, she has accumulated a vast experience working with various governmental, non governmental, and international bodies. Dr. Nazin Ahmed has a rigorous research portfolio, and her research papers are published in different renowned national and international journals. She has a publications on labor compliance in reputed journals. Currently working as a senior research fellow at Bangladesh Institute of Development Studies, an autonomous public organization. She was a member of the panel of economists for adopting the seventh five-year plan of Bangladesh. She is a director of a public bank in Bangladesh named Palli Sanchay Bank, which works with poor people throughout the country. She is also a member of the general body of the Pali Karmak Sahayak Foundation and Bangladesh NGO Bureau, Bangladesh. She regularly provides training at different ministries, departments, and other non government organizations on labor issues, compliance, international trade issues, gender issues, etc. She has worked with various international organizations including Asian Development Bank, World Bank, ILO, IFC, European Commission, USAID, Islamic Development Bank, and so on. Now I request Madam Nazneen Ahmed to share her valuable thoughts on this subject. Over to you, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm very delighted and thanks a lot for inviting me, Rotary Club of Bhubaneswar Kalinga, and it's the in your multi-district women seminar, and I'm very delighted to know that you are having this seminar on widened worries of women, a COVID-19 perspective. When Ms. Debjani first approached me for this seminar, I was very surprised that why I'm being approached and what to say here. But then I realized I just thought that the 10 minutes that I have now in my hand, I'll just share my work experience, that what I do and what I learned during this COVID-19 situation, what is happening with the women. As you have already listened from the introduction of my work, I'm an economist, so today I'm going to talk more of women, working women. Of course, women are working at home, but we all know that those are unpaid work. So my talk will mostly concentrate on what COVID-19 has done to the women who are in profession, whether it's informal work or formal work. Although my experience is mostly on Bangladesh, but as we have been listening, say, from the beginning of this today's webinar, I can see that it's all similar. The similar situation is being experienced by the women of Bangladesh too. So when I will be talking on Bangladeshi women, most of you will find it's the more or less same situation in India and other part of South Asia and in many part of world also. So when I'm talking about from my research, I have even before COVID, there is the women who are working in different area. They are facing or different kinds of problems only because they are women. For example, in Bangladesh, the formal job, a huge number of formal job has been created by our ready-made garment sector. We have 4 million workers and around 62% now are women in that sector. Previously, the ratio of women was even more, but now these days the proportion is going down, but still it's a huge number. But this even before Corona, those who are working in the industry as workers, they face the dual burden of home and the industry work, and so they wake up very early in the morning, say 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and many of them live in the shared home. They have shared kitchen or even shared toilet. So they start their day very early and then work for whole the day in the factory, and they come when they commute long way for coming home, and then again they have to go with all the household chores. So it's like they had the dual burden, and now with the COVID, they are facing new situation. Many of them have lost their job. Many are coming back though, because the factories are opening up, but many of them who were working in the small factories could not come back. So it's like when we look at the working woman's situation after COVID, so situation is different for where you are working. So if this is informal sector, the women who are working as helping hand in households or having some small petty business in the roadside, making the jhalmuri or all the traditional food, those kind of small cart, and they're out of business. They lost their capital, and it's very difficult for many of them to come back. So those who are in the formal sector employment, as I told that garments gave a formal sector, but this is a very vulnerable job in terms of they have very low income, though our labor law has improved a lot, but still the income is very minimal. They don't really have big savings. So during Corona, though government gave support to them, but it was not enough. So many of them, and of course it was those who lost their job, the situation was even worse for them, and they're worried. And those who are an entrepreneur, usually we think that they're independent and they're having a good life, but entrepreneurs are at different levels. So there are many entrepreneurs who have a small business, maybe from home, but during the Corona, not all of them could sell their products online. And in Bangladesh, many of the women entrepreneurs actually sell their products during the festival. And during this COVID time, we have lost our Bengali New Year, which was on the 14th of April. Usually on this occasion, traditional goods are sold, and many women entrepreneurs could not sell their product. We had our 2 Eid, the big festivals in Bangladesh, and they could not really sell their product during those Eids either. So all types of working women more or less faced the brunt of COVID-19. Now, how they are coping, and as many of the presenters today said that during the COVID, yes, it was good for some people that they could stay at home. The male members of the family were participating in many of the unpaid family work, but it was not the same for all cases. And in many cases, we have seen that women faced violence, and especially poor women who had some income before COVID, now they have lost that income, or their income has gone down a lot. They are facing really violence at home because they cannot contribute to the household income. And another when I'm talking about women entrepreneur, many of our women entrepreneurs are involved in dressmaking, selling those products, and in beauty parlors. So during this Corona, still now, they could not really start their business in full swing. But there are some issues which we see that some women are really trying to come back. For example, those who are selling like some products that they could not sell during Corona, they have changed the products. For example, many of them are selling food item from home, and they have started their online business on food items. Those who had beauty parlors, some of the women, I have found that they are now selling many beauty products like homemade their beauty products for facial and others through online. Even some interesting cooking ingredients, especially the street food. Because this Corona time, we don't have those street food. And we know that I think both in Bangladesh, India, these street foods are so important part of our life. I have found that many ingredients of street food are being sold by many women entrepreneurs. This is very creative. So I think Corona has, it has impacted negatively all lives, but it has also shown us that how we can improve our skill to survive odd situation. It has brought together many women together to fight their situation. I have found that many online women entrepreneurs are buying products from each other. So they have promised that they will not buy from anywhere else, rather they have formed different groups. So if someone is having a business of spices, and another one is having a business of clothing, so they are like buying from each other. So this is how they are trying to cope together. I think that is I think one positive thing of Corona is we have learned to live together. Many people are helping the poor people. We all understand that whatever support comes from the government, that is not enough. We have to stand by others. And that is what is happening in many cases in Bangladesh. I have found many women are trying to help each other. Now that our economy is trying to pick up and our livelihood has started to, I wouldn't say come back to normal, but trying to cope with the situation, with the new normal situation. So at this point, it's very important that everywhere, I think it's very important that we try to help the women, especially those who had small business, with their capital. Because in my research, I have found that many women who had petty business, they have lost the capital. They have used up the capital during this corona for maintaining household expenses. They are now really facing problems of the capital to restart the business. I think it's very important Rotarians and others who can stand by those women who lost their capital to restart the business. All of us have to understand that it's very difficult for women to come out and do job or do business. Just look at Bangladesh. Out of the working age population, only 36% is in the labor market. Only 36% of working age women are in the labor market. And this ratio is 81% for male. So, and it's not really changing. When we are talking that it's planet 50-50, we want to move towards that. And we all understand that economic empowerment is very important for women. And if that is to happen, more women needs to be part of the labor force. I'm talking more on labor force because I think in my research, I have found that women who has their own income, they actually have more empowerment. Not only that, not only they are contributing to family, they are also especially contributing to the next generation. When women earns more, they contribute more on children, and that is good for the economy also. So the time has come, we have to consider that women needs to be part of the economy, and that means that doesn't mean it should be a dual burden. They will continue working at home and then go outside. That means sharing everywhere. As our speakers, Dr. Sonal Manzi and Professor Jayanti told in the beginning, that we really have to utilize the power inside women, and that is for the benefit of the society. And time has come that we need to be with vulnerable poor people, and also we need to be with our fellow women who want to make their life worthwhile. And at the end, following Tagore, I want to just sing 2 lines. I'm not a singer. And I just want to sing for all the audience, saying those who understand that কহ কানে কানে শোনাও প্রাণ প্রাণে মঙ্গল বারতা সকাতরে ওই কাঁদিছে সকলে শোনো শোনো পিতা কহ কানে কানে শোনাও প্রাণে প্রাণে মঙ্গল বারতা কহ কানে কানে শোনাও প্রাণে প্রাণে মঙ্গল বারতা কহ কানে কানে শোনাও প্রাণে প্রাণে মঙ্গল বারতা. So let's speak Mongolo Barota for all of us, and let's hope for the best, and let's really fight out Corona. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thanks.
Thank you, Nazneen ma'am. Kane Kane, that was really, we are going back to our Gurudev's lines, and you have well shared with us that helping, cooperating and coordinating is the need of the hour. The economic empowerment should not restricted to the men alone. It should be also followed with the women fraternity. Thank you, madam. খুব ভালো লেগেছে আপনার আশা, আর আমি ভালো আশা করি আরো আগে আমরা আপনাকে ডাকবো আর ভালো ভালো কথা শুনবো। Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, this COVID has definitely made many changes in our life. It has given a lot of impact in our day-to-day life. Today, we are also privileged to have with us Dr. Prabhati Panigrai from Australia. Yes, the video play.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have with us Dr. Prabhati Panigrai from Australia. I am privileged to introduce Dr. Prabhati Panigrai before the August participants. Dr. Prabhati Panigrai is a medical doctor with a non-traditional vision. Always fascinated by human behavior, she finished her studies in social psychology. She is the Multicultural Ambassador for Mental Health Foundation Australia, the founder of Pink Umbrella International and Foco Art in Australia. An alumni of Uni Sydney Human Rights Sector, she is passionate for social justice, community work, public health to work for a cause. Pink Umbrella is a public charity organization based in Australia. It works for the immigrant communities for their physical health and social health. It works to create awareness of mental health and social or domestic injustice and their basic understandings. Simultaneously, she loves to get immersed in creativity, support creativity, and nurture creativity. They try to empower the youth and the public to remove the age old stigma. They educate the public to identify their own dignity and self worth. Their key slogan, Educate the Educated. Now I request Dr. Prabhati Panigrai to please share her valuable thoughts on the subject. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jenny, and thank you the whole Rotary team and everyone here and for inviting me. And it's a big privilege for me to talk from Sydney. Thank you. I would like to start with something that change is a constant thing, isn't it? Whatever it happens, change is there. And that is what the situation is now. So we never thought that there will be a pandemic. We never thought that we will face situation like this few months back. In January, we never thought it. In March, we thought, okay, it will stay for a few days or few months. And now we are here after 6 months. But there is always there's a light at the end of tunnel. But we have to go through the many dark phases to reach to that light. I would start my presentation on the psychological aspect of women. So what I thought, should I limit it to the woman or should I just talk about both men and women? Because a few years back, I attended one International Women's Day event. When I came from there, I heard from someone that women are just too much, they are just celebrating it, the showing off. It is actually because of men, they are now in this situation, they are empowered. That day I was a bit sad actually, that how can these educated people talk like that? I was sad. But after doing this last 5 years, I did a bit of research and I did some psychology, social psychology, think out of my interest and worked in the domestic sector, domestic violence sector. I got so many trainings on that. I said, yeah, that's right. There's a man behind all these issues. There is a cause that we have to address. We cannot solve the problem if we just focus on 50% of the population and we don't talk about the rest 50 and take all the blames on the 50% of women and just relieve this rest other 50s. And so let us talk about it. So today what I will do is I'll just talk about both men and women, and then I'll narrow down to women's couch. Can you please show my PowerPoint presentation? First slide, please. Hello?
Yes, screen share.
Yeah, ma'am, you have the permission to do so.
Yeah. Yes, please. You can do. First one. Are you doing it?
Oh, 1 second, ma'am.
So we are talking about the women's empowerment here, women's psychology here, and how COVID has affected women. So psychologically, my previous speakers have already made it easy for me because they covered most part of that what I thought I'd talk. But I'll definitely concentrate on what matters at this situation. So today's topic is widened worries of women, a COVID-19 perspective, and I'm covering the psychological impact of that. I will cover both men and in general the psychological impact. And then I'll talk a little bit about women and why we need to address both men and women in this situation. And next slide, please. The next one, yeah. So what is psychology? Like, what is the psychology? Is it or it just emerged during the COVID time, or just it was existing before and we never realized? I think it was there always, and you all know that there is a mental health aspect, just like a physical health. But we always had a fear. We never spoke about it because we are scared of that we will be judged about it. So if I tell about my psychological situation, like if I say I'm depressed, I'll be judged, I'll be isolated, I'll be separated in the school, or I'll be talked in the society that she has depression, or let us not label it as depression or something, but let us label it something, some stress is going on. So that education is so very important for all of us. But what happened during COVID time? How come we are talking about mental health much easily than what it was before? It's because the threshold level of the general population who were reluctant to talk about that, they started facing it as the pandemic lockdown situation extended. They realized they're also getting that similar feelings of stress, but they never realized that they will face. So they started recognizing that, and that is how we are here to talk about the psychological impact. And what I found is there's so many mental health webinars and all these things are going on. People have accepted that yes, we can talk about it. And it is a very good thing that happened. Like, I'm not saying that COVID has done something good, but because of COVID, our awareness and our fear has disappeared and we started talking about it. So what happens? And that is actually the stigma, and we are slowly taking out that stigma. Stigma is basically a fear. And then to remove that stigma, we have to talk about it. We have to face that. And we have to say that it is not different than physical. It is not different than diabetes. Like in diabetes, there is a hormonal difference that happens. In psychological diseases or mental health issues, there is some hormone as well. Similarly, this kind of psychological stress is very common. It is not uncommon that we will hide it. And if we don't address that issue, we are not going to solve the problems. So what is the kind of issue that can happen? Like what kind of psychological impact we are facing in general, both men and women? So there is a stress, anxiety, kind of depression, but also we are very fearful because the uncertainty made us so fearful. We don't know what will happen. And the fear and the uncertainty, unpredictability is not good for our health. We are very unsure whether the vaccine will come or not. If vaccine comes, when? Can we travel? Is there a border restriction because of vaccine? So it is not just the health. It has affected all aspects of our life. It has affected our finance. It has affected our children's education. It affected our extra burden, what domestic work at home. It is affected from every angle. And all this actually comes back to psychology. Because of the finance, housing, or whatever the situation, we again come back to the stress. So it's very important that we address that, we recognize that. And once we recognize that, we should seek help. We should not be reluctant to reach to the right service. So if you just see in that picture, so this is the well-being, but there are so many aspects that we are covering here. The safety condition, the disabling condition, so many other situations. So we have to address, but the positive part of our human behavior is we are very resilient, means we find some way to cope with. So that is what my previous speaker, they said that, see, they are exploring some skill. The women, they're exploring some skill. The men also, like we are finding some online presence. We are connecting and we're trying to do some online business. So these are our resilience. And those are the resilience that actually makes us improve and do something beautiful in future. And innovation is the human mind's a very unique character. So that's a good opportunity for all of us to explore that. How can we connect to each other? How can we support each other? And then how can we empower each other? Even as a woman, like if women they empower, they're connected and they support each other. I think that will be the biggest achievement in this equality and equity the target. A woman, when they are together, they're the strongest actually. So I would say that makes a big improvement. And if we just focus and support each other, if you just listen to our friends, if somebody is calling us, it means they are gaining courage to call to someone, and we have to be a very good listener to address that psychological impact. And just the other thing, like I know it's a short time, but yeah, so it is not just a short-term psychological impact, but also there might be some long-term impact because of this pandemic as well. Sorry, I lost my slide. But the long-term impact, can you show my slide, please? So the long-term impact could be like we'll have that fear, the fear will continue, and there will be post-traumatic stress disorder, because if we are losing somebody, a friend, a family, or anyone, so with that fear might continue. So if you don't address that fear, the trauma will remain. So it's very important for us to know that this pandemic could cause some very bad, dangerous trauma in our life. So can you please share my second slide, please? Hello. Anyone sharing my second slide? Hello. I can't hear anyone. Okay. So I don't know what happened. So I'll continue. I'll just.
Host, please play the second slide.
Yeah. So I just it is already been covered. So if you can see here that the family safety at this current situation, everything is covered already. So I'm not repeating those. But the family safety, because of economy or whatever reason, it is they have done this research. So social impact, I'm not going to other part, but what I want to discuss is the mental health and the family safety. So what is the mental health situation? I already covered most of that, but what is the safety? When it comes to safety, there's so many issues that is involved. And being a woman, what the safety, though it is considered the house is the most safest place in earth, but for some women who cannot speak, the house is the worst place. It might be the worst place. I'm not saying for everyone, but that is why we are addressing the domestic violence thing here. So my next one, please. Next slides. Next slide. Yeah, if you can see here. So that's okay. That's all right. So how it is different. So I've already covered what is the most important part for the gender psychology. But what is the typical for the woman? What are other issues? So there are 7 issues that we should look for, particularly for women. So the important part, economy already been covered, so I'm not covering that. But healthcare and the health and well-being. So if you see that, a man cannot be pregnant. So we have to focus on women's health for pregnancy. So there are high likely chances that when they are locked down, the chances of pregnancy is higher. And we have to educate the woman about contraceptive, the reproductive health. We have to educate teen girls who are susceptible, like they're more prone for either it is a minimal abuse or it is any kind of sexual abuse, or that's the incidence is actually high within the confined environment. And the data, what most recent data I was looking at in India, this incidences has increased. Unfortunately, it happens within a lockdown period. And also, these are all research. I'm not telling from my own words. So these are all research. And it is always known also that sexual and physical violence increases during any kind of lockdown situation. And as my previous speaker already told, domestic violence has increased like anything during this period. So same thing, it happened in Australia, same thing happened in US. What happened in March, actually, when the lockdown started, there are lots of calls. They call number of calls increased to 30%, another 30%, but suddenly it dropped. So what happened that time is because of the fear, they couldn't call. So the number of calls suddenly dropped that time. So how will you address that when they are fearful in their own house, when they don't have money, they don't have the control, because initially they might have some cases in their hand, no bank account, online service they can do for banking, because the partner might see that. So it is a very critical situation for women during these times. And if you can just say that, if you just say the coronavirus is the biggest threat, but that's not only the threat, because people who are living inside, they are very, very fearful. They don't know whom to contact, how to contact, and even the phone, when to call, because they are supervised, like vigilant throughout the time. They're getting supervised by someone. So that is how a woman situation is in certain difficult situation. So the education here at the right service, so that they can reach to the right service. They will have an accessible psychological number. They will have an accessible number where they can be safely, they can talk about their problems. They can reach to their friend who is very confidential discussions they can do. So those services as a social organization we can provide, and it will take some time, but it is an acute emergency, particularly during lockdown time. And for the pregnancy and all this, there's many online services I think available in India. So they can directly talk to the counselor. That definitely available in Australia, but I was looking at that. There are many services happen in Niemans, the National Institute of Neurological Science, Niemans, Bangalore. They have given some online services for that. So people can call them if any kind of psychological stress. So we have to break that barrier of reaching out to the psychological service. That's very, very important. And if someone calls you, it's very important for us to listen very carefully. Listening is that will heal that person a lot. And healthcare system has been like it's all known to people. That's the frontline service. People are more prone for that. Nurses, they are all getting all these stressful situations. Yeah. So that is the situation for domestic violence, and we all must listen to people. We should not judge people. If someone calls, we should direct them to the right service. And the reason I already told why it happened is the power control there. People who are the perpetrator, they try to control. It is not the money, it is not the education. It is basically power over another person. The same person is very good outside, but behind the lockdown, behind the house, they show their power. And that is where all this power inequality starts. And that is where the empowerment and finance is very important to address that. And that is where the addressing the right service and reaching to the right service is very important. Next one, please. So this is Harvard, they did a research, and this is how they imbalance, if there is an imbalance, how the problem is. So we have to make this side, the other side, heavier. So there's a positive side, there's a negative side. The negative side is because of our crisis, our COVID, our physical distancing. So those things we cannot avoid. So we have to just reduce that stress in there by connecting to people so we don't feel isolated. But what about the other part? So strengthening the core life skill, supporting the relationship. So those things are very important. But before that, we need to address that what this kind of stress can cause to us. Is it stress always bad? Or is it okay to tolerate all kind of stress? So we must know first, we must be aware about it. There are some stress that's very important, where it is needed, the fight and flight kind of stress, where we want to keep defend ourselves, keep ourselves safe. That is a positive stress. But up to a certain level, we can tolerate it. And that time we need to recognize that, yes, I think this is the time where I have to address about my own mental health. And if I'm not healthy, I don't think I can give the service to my children, my anybody. So the most important thing is the problem, like how we do in the oxygen mask in flight. In the flight, first they ask you to put the mask on you and then save your child. So it's very important for us to recognize that stress, because if the stress is for a prolonged period, that will affect your physical health as well, like cardiac, like muscles, like your memory, everything, your judgment. So it will affect in a very physiological way, so that it will be difficult for you to cope with that and difficult for you to strengthen, get the strength back again. So it's important that we recognize our own stress, right? Or we recognize somebody, friends, is going through some difficult time. So that's why once we recognize that, it's important that we should take care of ourselves. The self-care is a very critical component of any human being. I think in Indian society, particularly in our family structure, it is presumed that female will do that. It is presumed if home is dirty, it is the female's responsibility. I'm not saying that men are not doing. Nowadays, the modern men, they do a lot of work. So I really recognize and appreciate their contribution, and the change in their mindset that's happening, particularly young generation. I really appreciate their change, because they're learning very good. It's a positive learning. So the self-care, particularly to women, that you have to address self-care basically. The next one, please. So you have to focus on your core strength. Like you recognize that this kind of stress is normal for us, for everyone. And so nothing to feel ashamed about, nothing to feel bad about it. So learn how to do. Your self-care, like what you should do is ask for help. You recognize and ask for help. Spend time, like you are doing so much of work, and let your family members know, friends know that I need me time for exclusively for me. I will explore my own hobbies and write something. I'll do some creative thing, or some of my own personal goal. I let everybody know, so they know what is your boundaries, even for 1 hour. Time off. So it's very important to address your physical health. As I said, the reproductive health is very important for women. So keep in touch with the doctors and or GP, general physician, and just focus on your health. Reproductive health and any other health issue, talk to them whenever possible, reach to them, put yourself as one of the important person in the whole family structure, and that will give lots of strength to the family itself. So just whenever you are thinking, am I selfish? Please don't feel so, because if you are strong, you will empower your children and family. As my previous speaker said, an empowered woman can actually transform the next generation, and it is not selfish. So please focus on yourself for that. And if you have done something you think that is, don't self-blame. There's no need to self-blame, because all are human beings, and sometimes we trust, both men and women, we trust, and we sometimes get upset with that. So forgive yourself, learn how to focus, how to keep physically fit, and motivate yourself. Focus on your strength-based education, like self-educate yourself, focus, meditate, do positive things, keep your physical thing, keep your intellectual, like keep read and just write something. So those are the very important thing. And never forget to acknowledge your feeling. If you're sad, acknowledge it. I'm sad. Let people know that you're sad. I think with these things, I will conclude this because we don't have much time. And thank you so much. And I appreciate all this time given to me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Madam, for sharing your thoughts. Really, this pandemic has taken up a toll in our psychological part, and the stress level has also increased. A well-analyzed thought you have shared with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, now we move on, ladies and gentlemen. We have with us Mrs. Ina Purohit, District Chair 326 Innerville. I request the host to play the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce District Chairman of Innerville, District 326, Mrs. Ina Purohit. Ina Purohit is alumni of Ravenshaw College and did her law from MS College, Cuttack. She had done her graduation in fashion designing from INIFT, Bhubaneswar. She is a leading financial consultant in SDFC and achiever of MDRT for the consecutive 6 times. She is also the honorary treasurer of Sahaya Red Cross Center for Children, a unit of Odisha state branch of Indian Red Cross Society. She is always keen on helping the downtrodden of the society and also the needy students for their higher technical studies. She joined Innerville during the year 2004 and subsequently became the member of Innerville of Cuttack Silver City in 2010. Her thrust areas are environment and helping to the specially able children. She was recognized for her immense contribution toward the society of her district. During 1718, she became the district secretary. She had attended 2 Innerville convention and 3 triennial conference and other national level conferences. She is a motivator and believe in teamwork. Presently, she is the district chairman of Innerville District 326. Happily married to Rotarian engineer Bhagirathi Purohit. They are blessed with a son Ashutosh, who is presently a biomedical engineer in Amgen, California. Her tagline is, "If we can dream, we can do it." Thank you.
Thank you, Devjani. President Rotarian Devjani Bose, DG Rotarian Somyaranjan Mishra, all the esteemed speakers of this evening, and District Chair of Women Empowerment, Rotarian Professor Jayanti Jagdev, District Executives of Innerville District 326, and other Rotarians and Innerville members. Innerville Namaskar to all. Before me, I think all the speakers have covered everything. So I'm just going to focus something on the self-care. Yes, all are absolutely right that I do agree with all of them also that women are suffering from the different kind of domestic violence and all kind of things during this pandemic lockdown. But I must say, when a woman think, they think twice. First for their family, and then only for themselves. And many times they take things for granted, and in this process, they neglect their health. They are physically and mentally stressed during this lockdown. All kind of pressures are on them only. Still, they prove to be a superwoman during this COVID-19, managing their household work, managing their office from work from home, and as Madam Najnin said, managing their business with others over this online business. They are really like a superwoman now. Their health is to be taken care of. Self-care is most important. Then only they can take care of their family and themselves. Then can engage themselves with other activities. As Madam said now, Madam Pravati said, they can involve themselves in music, painting, art, gardening, dance, etc. for relaxing themselves. Mental relaxation is more important, and they can play a major role in motivating others. As a woman, they have to motivate their kids. They have to keep motivated their family members because during this lockdown period, mental health has come up as a very serious issue. Suicidal tendency is increasing. So as a mother, as a wife, as a friend, as a sister, their role is most important in in motivating their family members. So for that, their health is of utmost important. They should be fit first. They must have a positive approach, and then they can also face, then only they can face such crisis like COVID-19 and lockdown period. Now I will come for our organization, Innerville. In Innerville, through Innerville, the women force has got a lot of impact on the society. First step starts with awareness. Normally we go out and reach to the people, and like Rotary also, we used to go out and reach to the people and do different kind of projects. But due to lockdown, we all are in home now, and we are having a lot of problem, and we are facing a new challenge. And God forbid, Tachud, we are facing the challenge very nicely, and I must thank the Innerville members are doing that very nicely and coping up very tremendously. They are doing very nice. Now, because of the norms and social distancing, though we are not able to do those things, we are organizing very much awareness webinars through various crucial topics like mental health, water conservation, waste management, myths and facts of COVID-19. We are making aware people through different kinds of webinars about COVID-19, how to deal with the situation, how to face the situation. So I would say COVID-19 is just a phase. Even this shall pass away. We should all be positive and face it and overcome. I will not take much of your time. So just let's believe in the mantra. If we can do it, yes, we can definitely do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and for sharing your beautiful thoughts. Really, Dhamida has proved that we all human have come in a common platform in this webinar to share our thoughts, views in every aspect of life. Thank you so much. Now we are coming to the end of the session. Now I request our President-elect, Rotarian Radhamohan Patnaik sir, to give the vote of thanks. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good evening. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you are.
Yes, sir.
Respected Chief Guest, District Governor Sri Soumyaranjan Mishra, President of our club, Rotarian Devajani Bose, Rotarian Professor Jayanti Jagdev, District Chair, Women Empowerment, eminent speakers in the evening in all the 4 sessions, PDG Samastri Sen, RID of 3291, Dr. Nazneen Ahmad, Dhaka, Bangladesh, Dr. Prabhati Panigrahi from Australia, District Chairman, Inner Wheel, Mrs. Ina Purohit, Inner Wheel District 326, ladies and gentlemen. Now we are almost at the end of today's program, Swayam Siddha, a multi-district women seminar on the subject. Widening Worries of Women, a COVID-19 Perspective. As you know, this program has been hosted by our club, Rotary Club of Bhubaneswar, Kalinga. It is my privilege to propose vote of thanks on this occasion to the speakers and the audience for gracing this event and sharing with us the views and opinions, and thereby making the program a grand success. The topic on which deliberations took place on a broad subject, Widened Worries of Women, a COVID-19 Perspective, are role of Rotary, scenarios in neighboring countries, on psychological impact, and role of inner wheel and self-care. The COVID-19 crisis has affected societies and economies around the globe in general, and our country and state in particular. The crisis as it unfolding will continue to force the mankind to think innovatively. It is essential to decide as to whether this pandemic is an unmitigated disaster or whether we can make the best use of the opportunities that will come in its way. It's easy to let negative thoughts and feelings creep in during the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite all this, keeping a positive mindset can go a long way in managing through the difficult times. Holding on to that positive attitude can help on things that provide with what we one need to make it through this day. Catchword: self-care, empowering a woman and care for each other. To that extent, the topic on which our speakers deliberated are the most appropriate and fitting topics of today's pandemic situation. A very big thank to special guest and chief speaker in the inaugural session, who is not here now, Honorable Member of Parliament Rajya Sabha, Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Sonal Manzi, for giving an excellent coverage in her talk. We are all inspired by her great words. For the last nearly 2 hours, we have been listening to the speakers on the subjects so elaborately, which I am sure would be very useful for the audience. I, on behalf of my club, express our sincere thanks to each keynote speaker, namely PDG Syamasri Sen of RID 3291, Dr. Nazneen Ahmad, Bangladesh, Dr. Prabhati Panigrahi from Australia, and District Chairman Inner Rural Mrs. Inna Purohit for their excellent presentations. Our special thanks to the District Governor, Rotarian Soumyaranjan Mishra, having accepted our request to grace the program as chief guest and for delivering his valuable talk. Our sincere thanks to eminent personalities present in the audience, to the specific PDG Dr. Narayan Mishra, PDG A.B. Mahapatra, PDG Sibabrata Das, PDG Bhavani Prasad Chaudhary, PDG Uttam Ganguly, I think from the neighboring, then PDG and Prabhudat Subudhi. I might have missed out some of the important names worth mentioning, but I may be kindly excused for that, having not noticed. This event has become a very successful event, which would not have been possible without the large audience and participants present here. We have presence of participants from Bangladesh, Australia. Very big thanks to everyone and all. We also wish to express our gratitude to all the district officials, past presidents, and Rotarians of all other clubs for providing encouraging support and participation. For every event to be successful, there are persons in the backstage who make it happen successfully. I would like to express our sincere thanks to all those who supported this event. A special thanks to our President, Rotarian Devajani Bose, and Professor Jayanti Jagdev, District Chair, Women Empowerment, for successfully holding this event. I also express my thanks to our club past presidents and other Rotarians of our club for their continued support. Once again, I want to thank you all for being with us this evening, and it is a very great pleasure and honor for being amongst you all. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much for this opportunity. Thank you. Over to President.
Just want to end up the session over here. Now, if time for 5 minutes more is there, if any of you has any question to any of our panelists, only selective ones, please, I'm opening it for 5 minutes. If you want to interact with any of our panelists, please put up your question. Unmute yourself and please put up.
हाँ हेले तोर डिनर रेडी है गला
खाई साले तो कथा है
हाय शाबाश पिलाने सब खाई साले
देवजानी